It is March of 2026, and the United States government is carrying a national debt that vastly outweighs its liquid assets. In accounting, this state is known as technical insolvency. It occurs when an entity's balance sheet shows that its total financial liabilities completely overwhelm its current assets. Imagine a homeowner staring down a $500,000 mortgage with only $60,000 in savings. They are heavily house poor. If the bank called that loan in today, forcing them to liquidate everything, their personal economy would instantly collapse. Yet the system remains stable. As long as that homeowner keeps making their minimum monthly payments without fail, the bank never comes for the house. The United States is in the exact same position. A sovereign nation operates under entirely different financial laws of physics than a normal citizen. The U.S. government possesses two financial superpowers that make actual bankruptcy functionally impossible. The first is the power to tax. If the Treasury faces an operational shortfall, it holds the legal authority to simply bill its citizens more money to cover the gap. The second is the printing press. Because the United States borrows exclusively in its own currency, dollars, it can always command the Federal Reserve to print more money to satisfy an outstanding bill. Utilizing the printing press has an immediate consequence: inflation. Creating new currency out of thin air dilutes the value of the dollars already circulating, driving up the cost of everyday goods like groceries. These override functions push heavy economic pain down onto the citizens, but they mathematically guarantee the government itself will never run out of money. The threat of standard insolvency is an illusion. The real systemic vulnerability attacking the economy right now is the interest trap. To fight inflation, borrowing costs were pushed up. And because those interest rates have remained high for a prolonged period, the cost of carrying the national debt has multiplied. This gauge shows the quantifiable damage. The United States is currently burning over $1 trillion a year exclusively to pay the interest on its debt. That $1 trillion is capital siphoned directly away from physical infrastructure. It is money no longer available to pour concrete for new highways or reinforce failing bridges. It removes crucial funding from social infrastructure, shrinking the budgets available to public schools and educational programs. And it drains capital required for national security, stripping resources away from military readiness and tactical deployments. The government is functioning like an individual drowning in credit card fees. The exorbitant cost of simply carrying the debt has consumed the resources needed to afford the basic necessities of life. While those interest payments drain the country's resources, in 2026, the current trajectory points toward a hard stop arriving in 2027. This timeline charts the path to what economists call the X state. The X state represents the absolute limit of the government's credit capacity. The United States operates under a statutory debt ceiling, a legal cap on how much it can borrow. Unless Congress actively votes to raise that limit, borrowing legally ceases. While the Treasury still collects tax revenue past the X date, the department is legally forbidden from issuing any new debt to pay the rest of its bills. America currently resembles a student with a $100,000 debt load and $5 in their pocket. This student is bleeding $1 trillion a year in fees, racing toward a self-imposed political shutdown where the credit line finally gets cut.